What's up, everyone? Anyways, I am Josh Langworthy. Welcome to another Pokemon TCG deck builders. Anyways, without any further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and read my deck that I have here. This is an expanded format deck, as you guys know the difference between standard and format deck and expanded format deck. There's a big difference, yeah, this is the bigger one. This is the one that's the older one. That allows you to go through the older formats, and it's still legit in tournaments, not the world tournaments, but within the sanctioned, format tournaments that's held by Pokemon leagues all across the globe. And so this is one of them that I just created not too long ago. And yeah, let's go ahead and just name off the Pokemon and the trainers and the energies that I have in here for now. After that, I'll go ahead and go through each card by card and explain to you what they do and why it's meant to be put in this deck. So yeah, so we got two Valkynian cards, and also just to let you guys know, I am going to get a Valkynian EX in this deck and a Hoopa EX deck, and I might possibly put a Shaman EX as well. So we got Entei ×2 for that one. Entei ×2 on that one. We got Blaziken EX, Victini EX ×2, Charizard EX, two of those ones, one of these ones, one of those ones. Mega Blaziken EX, Charizard Y EX, Charizard X EX. We got a Scorched Earth, Professor's Letter ×2. Weakness Policy ×2, Energy Retrieval ×2, Eva Soda ×2, Ultra Ball ×3, Protection Cube ×4, Bianca ×1, Pokemon Center Lady, Steven, Pokemon Fan Club ×2, Professor Juniper ×2, Shauna ×3, Blacksmith ×3, and a special energy, which is Burning Energy ×2, Double Colorless Energy ×3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Fire Energies ×10, obviously, as you guys saw there. Now, go ahead and go through the cards and explain to you guys what all this is. As you guys can see, this is mainly a fire deck, primarily a fire deck. To be successful with the fire deck in today's times is to be able to power up your Pokemon as fast as you can through the discard pile, or if you got expanded format through black and white and stuff, you got Victini. So otherwise, if it's just a normal standard format, you'll be just having it like a Valkynian from the discard pile. But anyways, so yeah, to get started, the reason why I have two of Valkynian here is because he's 130 HP. Retreat cost maybe 2, but his power heater, it does 20 damage, and it only costs 1 fire energy. It says choose 2 of your bench Pokemon, attach a fire energy card from your discard pile to each of those Pokemon. Pretty legit. And for a whopping 3 fire energy, you got Steam Artillery, which is 100 HP. It's pretty good attack actually for 100. And that power heater is an amazing ability. Now we got 2 of these same types of Entei. Obviously one of them is a reverse holo, the other one's a holographic. But the reason why I got 2 of these Entei is because of his HP. He's 130. He's a little bit costly on his fire intake, but again, there's decks out there that have that prevent any damage from EX Pokemon, so we got stuff in here to counter that attack. Now, we also have his Flame Scream, which does 30 damage, but it says during your opponent's next turn, any damage done to this Pokemon attack is reduced by 30 after applying weakness and resistance. Now, Heat Tackle is a little bit more expensive. It's a little pricey, but it does 130 damage with 2 fire energy and 2 colorless energy. So it's basically 2 fire energy plus a double colorless energy. It says flip a coin. If tails, a Pokemon does 30 damage to itself, but we got a protection cube on there. obviously, in here, as you can see. And this does this. It says prevent all damage done to Pokemon this card is attached to its user attacks it uses. So it does no self-infliction, and therefore makes this card very, very powerful. Now this entity is 120 HP, and he's a newer one. He's from Steam Siege as well, just like the other one is, but he's not as competitive, but it's interesting. He's not too bad of an attacker, but he's worth it. He's worth to have 4 of them in your deck, 2 of these ones and 2 of the other ones, because of this ability here. So for a colorless energy, it says Burning Roar. Discard the top 4 cards in your deck. If any of those are fire energy cards, attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So that allows you to power up your Pokemon. And obviously the most likely, the good chances of the Pokemon cards that we're going to go ahead and power up are those Charizards and the Blaziken, obviously. And also Combat Blaze for 2 fire energy. It says this attack does 20 more damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So that's 20 plus. Potentially, you could do a lot of damage there. So obviously, you're looking at 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 damage if your opponent has 5 Pokemon out on the field. Blaziken EX. Obviously, this is a very vital card that I have, obviously, because of my Mega Blaziken EX I have in here. He's got a pretty decent set of HP, 170 HP. That's pretty high for an EX Pokemon, but he's also kind of on the expensive side for energy. But his abilities are what makes him a good card. Fist of Focus does 30 damage. Attach an energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Boom. So you can power them up as well. Flare Storm has 3 colors energy, 1 fire energy. So not as bad, but you can also, like I said, power them up with this, or go ahead and power them up with Valkenian, or other cards that I have in here that makes this a lot easier. It says 100 plus. Flip a coin for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 20 more damage for each heads. So it does a base of 100, which is pretty strong. Then another 20 for each fire energy you have attached to them. For each heads that you get for a flip on that. So, and obviously we have 2 Victini. They are the same card, just there are different looks, obviously, but they are the same reprint for abilities. Now, this is why I have Victini in my deck. His HP might be low for an EX Pokemon type, but his attack's what I have here for his first one. For 1 fire energy called Turbo Energize, search your deck for 2 basic energy cards and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So you're taking a little bit of a risk there for 110 HP, but if you got your weakness policy, he won't have any weakness on him. Again, you can put that on him. And then you can also Pokemon Center Lady, which I do have in here, one of them, to revitalize them, just to stand another one. You can also retreat them for the cost of 1 retreat cost, which is not bad. And that's the reason why you want Victini EX in this deck for the expanded format deck, just because of that ability. Now, in Intensifying Burn, which is for 1 fire energy and 2 colorless energy, you got 50 plus. If the defending Pokemon is a Pokemon EX, this attack does 50 more damage. So if you do have to go and resort to fighting with Victini, you do have the 50 plus if your opponent's Pokemon is an EX. So a potential of 100 damage. Now to the Charizards. So we do have 2 of the same reprints. The only difference is this one being from the deck series and this one being from the promo version. This is also full art textured card. And Stroke. Flip a coin. If heads, search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to this Pokemon. Shuffle your deck afterwards. That's the reason why I have this Pokemon in this deck. He's pretty competitive. He also has a high HP of 180. And that's why I have him. And that's the only reason why I really wouldn't be resorting to his Fire Blast, because it does only 120 damage and it says discard an energy card attached to this Pokemon for 1 fire and 3 colorless. We won't be using that attack really unless we have to. Otherwise, yeah, it's pretty costly, but the Stoke is not too bad considering it's a 50-50 chance. So if we do have to resort to him, that's what we'll do. But more than likely, we'll have Charizard out on the bench until he powers up. That was for my phone. For some odd reason, went off. Now, we got this Charizard EX, and he's from the Generations pack. Not the greatest card in the world, but he's better than nothing. Again, 180 HP, which is good. He's got a smaller amount, a little bit more expensive on energy actually, but better outcome for the ability. It says attach fire energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon for Fire Clark. That's 30 damage as well, but you can also put fire energy on him. Now, Burning Breath, it does 80 plus for 2 fire energy plus 2 colorless energies. Says flip a coin. This attack does 40 more damage for each heads. Potentially, you could do a lot of damage there for, you know, a 50% chance, but more than likely, again, we're not going to use this card for an attack unless we have to use that for the fire energy to attach Charizard with. More than likely, again, we're just put him on the sidelines. Now, this Charizard, on the other hand, we might be using. So, yeah, we have 180 HP, and he uses Mega Ascension, which is 1 fire energy, 1 colorless energy, and it's a search your deck for a M Charizard EX, which is Mega. Reveal it and put it in your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. That's the reason why we'd want to play this card, just because of that. Now, more than likely, we would have him on the sideline till we have enough energy to go ahead and switch him over to Charizard EX, but then lose our turn because we don't have Spirit Links yet. But once we get Spirit Links, we'll put that in here. But and then we would equip obviously Charizard to make him a Mega Charizard and go from there. But his next attack calls for 3 colorless energy and 1 fire energy. It says Brave Fire is 120 damage. It's not too bad. The only problem is Pokemon does 30 damage itself. Now that's the reason again we have Protection Cube, prevents Charizard from doing damage to himself. Mega Blaziken EX for 210 HP. He's a whopping attacker, whopping HP'er, and that's great. Again, there's no Spirit Links for this Pokemon in particular, so that's going to be the thing that's his downfall on it. But if we can go ahead and get him out there from the bench to the attacker, and we have the energy already equipped to him, like we should already by that point. All you need is 2 fire energies and 2 colorless energy, and it's called Moonsault Blaze, 100 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon's Moonsault Blaze attack does 100 more damage. Apply weakness before applying weakness and resistance. So it does a total of 200 damage and does complete knockouts. So 200 damage after that, that's pretty crazy. So yeah, that's very powerful. Now here's my strongest Pokemon card in the whole entire deck, especially with that Protection Cube, which is very OP. We got Mega Charizard Y EX with an HP of 220 HP. Obviously, as you can see, his Mega, we're gonna hold all the other Charizard into the side until we get Crimson Dive out there to use for this Charizard. Obviously, he has 5 energies. It's very, very expensive. But since we have Protection Cube, it is not a big deal. We only need is 2 fire energy and 3 double colorless energy, just colorless energy, and we use Crimson Dive, 300 damage. The only downside is this Pokemon does 50 damage to himself. So yeah, it still might do 50 damage to himself if you don't got Protection Cube. But you can obviously use Super Potions or Pokemon Center Ladies, or also you can use Protection Cube, which is why I have 4 Protection Cube, is mainly for this Pokemon card right here, so he doesn't do damage to himself, so we can power him up and just obliterate everything in our path. This is a very powerful Pokemon and a very good card, if that indeed. Mega Charizard Ex EX. Again, 120 HP. This is from the Generations pack. The other one was from Flash Fire. Not as great or as playable as the Mega Charizard Y, but or the Flash Fire version of X, which does 300 damage as well by discarding the top 5 of the cards. But for like I think 1 Fire, 1 Darkness, and like 3 double colorless, I believe is what that one is for the X version of Flash Fire. But that's a very playable card, by the way. But this one is not too bad. Again, you'd be wanting to put him on the sidelines until you power him up. He is kind of costly on energy here, but not too much. You need 1 fire energy and 3 colorless energy. Heat 5 Foon, 100 plus damage. So he does a base of 100 damage, which is really strong. Flip a coin for each fire energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 50 more damage for each heads. So, how many energy you have potential of doing even more damage than the other one. But the other one's a guaranteed 300 damage. So that's why I have that one in my deck. And this is why this one's here for a last resort if I need to. But I'd much rather have a Mega Blaziken out and that Charizard Y out before that. Scorched Earth. This is my only stadium card in here, and you can see why. It says once during each player's turn, the player may discard a fire or fighting energy card from his or her hand. If that player does, so he or she draws 2 cards. Gives you potential to go ahead and draw from 2 cards, and by discarding fire energy. And obviously this deck needs stuff where you can discard energy so you can attach and power up your Pokemon with the discarded energies. I only have 2 Professor's Letters in this deck for a reason. That's because I got Victini. I have things where you really need to actually just discard the cards from your deck if you have to go that route. And it says, obviously, Professor's Letter, we all know it's search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them in your hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. Great card if you need it. But the problem is this is an expanded format, so if someone needs to put N out there, boom, that kind of just defeats the purpose on it. But it's all right. We got 2 of them, and we got 2 of them because of the other 2 reasons as I stated. Now, weakness policy. Obviously, lately the water decks have been getting very popular, and we need something that's going to go ahead other than protection cube to protect Charizard, Mega Charizard EX out there from being destroyed in like 2 hits. And this is what's going to happen right here with weakness policy. This card, the Pokemon this card is attached to has no weakness. Very, very OP card. If used properly, if used correctly. I don't have 4 of them, unfortunately. I think I would probably have 4 of them in this deck. But for the most part, 2 of them will do. And hopefully, we'll get good odds to be able to get that and put it in here. I got a card in here that allows me to search for a trainer as well. I don't think I have this via Seeker, though, which I think only works for supporter anyways, but yeah. I have other cards in here that allow my odds to get up there easier to get those cards too. But Energy Retrieval, I only have 2 of these cards. Obviously, Pokemon that allow me to search my deck for my discard pile for energy already to power up. But just in case if I had to rely to this, I got Energy Retrieval. I got 2 of them. It says put 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. Obviously it's pretty self-explanatory. Evosoda, I used to have 4 of them. Now I decided to go only 2 with them because there's a good chance I'll probably end up getting the cards I need. And if I don't, I got other cards in there that will be sufficient enough to go ahead and, fight and win my battle. But if I do get lucky enough to use one of these cards, I'll start to power up my Charizard. Or I'll power up my Mega Blaziken, which are the 2 cards I'd probably be wanting to get out. And I would be putting other 2 more in there, but for my deck, I think just 2 of them will be sufficient enough. But Evosoda, the good thing about this card is it says to search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon, this counts as evolving that Pokemon. Shuffle your deck afterwards. You can't use this card during your first turn or on a Pokemon that was put into play this turn. It's kind of like a rare candy, but we don't need rare candy, obviously, because there's only 2 stages. So I got 3 Ultra Balls for a good reason, because I need to go ahead and be able to pop out Pokemon that I need. Now, Ultra Ball allows me to grab any type of Pokemon, so if I don't have Evosoda, I got Ultra Ball to rely on. So it says discard 2 cards from your hand. If you can't discard 2 cards, you can't play this card. Search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Great card. Usually most people put 4 of them in there, but for this deck I only need 3, obviously, because I have other reasons, other things that allow me to do by grabbing Pokemon in my deck. But the discarding is great. In fact, I can go ahead and discard 2 energies for later on and just take them from my discard pile, pop them on there, and then power up my Charizard and all that stuff. So it's always a good thing that I have those as well. Protection Cube. You know, you would think that discarding is a bad thing, but in this case, discarding is not bad. So that's why I have them in there specifically, is for that, because fire decks really require that particular sense of skill. It's why fire decks are also really hard to build, because you got to think outside the box and reverse than you normally would. Protection Cube. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon, done to the Pokemon this card is attached to by attacks it uses. So no self-infliction damage from any self-inflicting damage Pokemon. This is a tool, so it attaches and it equips to the Pokemon. Great card. Obviously, self-explanatory. I need it in this deck. Unfortunately, it's only for expanded format since it is in Flash Fire and they never reprinted it. I think they should, but they don't. So I don't know why. But hopefully in the next, maybe the Sun and Moon, they'll probably put that in so we can use it. Bianca, basically the equivalent to a, like I would say probably a Shauna, kind of, but the only one that would be kind of like it. This would be, if you don't have Shaman EX, this is the card right here that you would want, okay? It says draw cards until you have 6 cards in your hand. That's basically what Shaman's EX's ability is. I only have 1 card in real life for this, but since it is allowed in expanded format, that's why I have it in here, but that's just in case. If I do get it, sweet, I have something I can rely on. Pokemon Center Lady, I only have 1 in here. Obviously, my Pokemon are pretty high HP. I don't need to really rely on this too much, and I have other things that prevent it from being hurt too much. But if I do need to rely on it, or if I do need to change, I got like 3 more, so I can switch more to more Pokemon Center Ladies. But pretty self-explanatory supporter, heal 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. Steven, real good card. Search your deck for a supported card and a basic energy card. Reveal them and put them into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. Really good card for a card that I need. So let's say if I get this and I needed a Pokemon fan club to get 2 basic Pokemon out of my deck, boom, I can grab them, and there we go. That's actually a really good card. So yeah, Pokemon fan club. I got 2 of them. Again, it says search your deck for up to 2 basic Pokemon, reveal them, and put them in your hand. Shuffle the deck afterwards. Pretty self-explanatory, just in case if you need a Pokemon that you need and you don't have good enough hand, you got Pokemon Fan Club to rely on, and there we go. Professor Juniper, basically the equivalent to Professor Sycamore in today's games for standard format, but this is an expanded format. And since I didn't have any more Professor Sycamores, I just went with Professor Juniper. Obviously, you can go all the way to black and white base, and that's what I have here. It says discard hand and draw 7 cards. Basically the same thing as a Professor Sycamore. Shauna, I had 3 Shauna. Pretty self-explanatory. Shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 5 cards. So if you get a bad hand, just shuffle your whole hand into your deck and boom. Or if you're running out of cards and you're needing those cards to go ahead and switch over so you can beat your opponent, there you go. You got another thing to rely on. You can put those cards back in there, shuffle, and, you know, wherever cards you have left, and potentially get more cards back into your deck and win by drawing out the battle that way too. Blacksmith. Very good card for drawing out energy and powering up your Pokemon. It says attach 2 fire energy cards for every discard pile to one of your fire Pokemon. Obviously, I have 3 of them for a reason. This is to power up my Pokemon straight up for Charizard and any other card out there. It's in my deck, obviously. I have 2 Burning Energy. This card can only be attached to fire Pokemon. This card provides fire energy only when this card is attached to a fire Pokemon. If this card is discarded by any attack of your fire Pokemon, of the fire Pokemon this card is attached to, attach this card from your discard pile to that Pokemon attacking. So basically, if your Pokemon needs to discard a fire energy from your hand, this goes into the discard pile, but then boom, you attach it right back onto the Pokemon. So it'd be a great card for a Charizard. Simple as that. So you just attach to the burning fire energies. Boom. You never have to worry about them ever again. Continually can use it. Double colorless energy. Obviously, it's pretty self-explanatory. It provides 2 double colorless energies. And I actually have 3 of them. And obviously, pretty self-explanatory. I have all my fire energies, all 10 of them. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 of them for the deck. Well, anyways, guys, that is it. That's my episode today of Pokemon Deck Builders. If you guys ever have questions, hit me up. I've been playing Pokemon TCG for quite a while, and I've also been building decks lately, just for a while now. I've been collecting cards for a long time, but if you guys got any questions, just hit me up. If you want to duel, let me know. I do have Pokemon TCG online, as you guys know, and I'll add you up and I'll duel ya. So yeah, that's it. Peace out, guys. Bye.